She was an ordinary woman, living a life that looked just like everyone else's. She woke up early each day, prepared breakfast for her family, and went about her work without drawing attention to herself. She was not famous, not someone the world would expect to remember. But life has a strange way of choosing ordinary people for extraordinary stories. And she was about to discover that her journey would change medical history forever. At first, it started quietly. She realized she was pregnant, and joy filled her heart, like any expecting mother. She dreamed of the little life growing inside her. She imagined soft cries, tiny fingers curling around her hand, and nights of rocking a child to sleep. She felt blessed, because becoming a mother is always a miracle. She did not know then that her miracle was unlike any other. The first few weeks passed normally. She felt the common signs: tiredness, a little nausea, small changes in her body. Her family supported her, smiling every time she talked about baby names or decorated little corners of the house with hope. But soon, her body began to change in ways she had never expected. She felt the movements earlier than most women usually do, and they were stronger, more powerful, as if the life inside her was racing ahead of time. When she went to her first checkup, the doctors noticed something unusual. The numbers on the medical chart were higher than average. The growth inside her seemed faster than what science considered normal. The doctor frowned at the screen. His eyes fixed on the scan, he looked again and again, thinking perhaps the machine had made a mistake. But it was not the machine, it was her. Something extraordinary was happening within her body. She returned home with questions in her mind. But she did not feel fear. Instead, she felt a strange excitement. She knew her journey would not be like others. Every day her strength surprised her. She could feel her body working harder, as though carrying not just one miracle, but something far greater. The neighbors began to notice too. They whispered in curiosity, wondering what made her pregnancy so different. The weeks turned into months, and with each passing moment, her case became more mysterious. She felt the weight increase rapidly. Yet she walked with determination. There were nights she could not sleep. But instead of tears, she whispered prayers. Asking for guidance and strength, she began to realize that her story was not just about her, was something bigger. Something meant to inspire and to teach. Doctors kept calling her back for extra scans. They were puzzled. They invited specialists, people who had spent their lives studying pregnancy, to look at her case. Some of them shook their heads in disbelief. Others leaned closer to the screens, whispering numbers under their breath. They had never seen such rapid development. They had never seen a body respond in this way. One even said quietly, "This should not be possible." But there she was, living proof that it was. The woman, however, did not let fear control her. She embraced every moment. She talked to the life inside her, placing her hands gently on her belly and whispering promises. She told her unborn child about the world outside, about the family waiting eagerly, about the love that surrounded them both. She said she would be strong no matter what, because that was what mothers did. Her family stood beside her, though they too were filled with wonder and sometimes worry. They listened carefully to the doctors, but never once let their faith weaken. They believed she had been chosen for something rare, something that the world would remember, the village, the community. Even strangers started to hear the story, and people came forward with blessings. Some brought food, some brought advice, and some simply came to see the woman whose pregnancy was becoming a mystery that even science could not fully explain. Every heartbeat, every kick, every movement became a message, reminding her that she was carrying more than just a child. She was carrying hope. She was carrying history. The doctors began documenting every stage, writing notes, taking photos, and discussing theories late into the night. They admitted openly that her case was breaking rules, shattering records. and forcing them to think differently about what was possible. The woman herself, though surrounded by so much attention, remained humble. She still cooked for her family, still laughed with her friends, still dreamed of the day she would hold her child close. But inside her heart, she knew this was not going to be a simple story. This was going to be something the world would remember. And so her journey continued, with mystery deepening each day. She walked bravely into the unknown, her steps steady, her spirit strong, unaware that her pregnancy would soon surpass every record ever written and change the very pages of medical history. The first hospital visit had already left the doctors puzzled. But as the months went by, their confusion only grew deeper. Each time she stepped into the clinic, there was a strange silence that filled the room. The nurses whispered, the staff stared, and the doctors exchanged looks of disbelief. It was not every day that medical experts faced something that completely challenged what they had been taught. During one visit, she lay on the bed while the machine hummed quietly. The doctor's eyes stayed fixed on the glowing screen. He adjusted the scanner once, then twice, then again, finally. He turned to the others and said in a low voice, "These numbers cannot be right," but the machine was not wrong. The truth was that her pregnancy was beyond normal limits. Another specialist was called in. An older man with decades of experience. His hair was gray, his face lined with years of studying countless pregnancies. He prided himself on knowing the rarest conditions, the strangest cases, yet even he was left speechless. He placed his glasses down, rubbed his forehead, and muttered, "I have never seen this before." The news spread quickly through the hospital. Doctors from different departments began gathering in the room whenever she had an appointment. Some came with curiosity, others with doubt. A few even suggested that perhaps it was all just an error in the records. But every test confirmed the same thing: her pregnancy was rewriting the rules of science. She watched the doctors whispering among themselves. She could see the worry in their eyes. But she also noticed something else, a spark of wonder. They were not only doctors now, they were witnesses to something rare, something that might never happen again in their lifetimes. The hospital corridors buzzed with questions. How is this possible? One nurse asked, "What if the baby is at risk?" Another said, yet no one could answer with certainty. They had books, they had charts, they had years of experience. But none of it explained her condition. Her case did not fit into any chapter of medical history, was an entirely new story being written before their eyes. Despite the growing tension, she remained calm. Her smile disarmed the fear that surrounded her. She reassured her family and even comforted the doctors, telling them that everything would be fine. "Maybe this is meant to be," she would say gently. Her strength surprised everyone, because while the experts questioned science, she placed her faith in life itself. More tests were done, and the results shocked the team every single time. The baby's growth was far beyond expectation, yet healthy. The mother's body was adapting in ways no one thought possible. The medical charts that once seemed impossible now became daily reality. Some doctors began keeping journals, recording every detail. They said future students would one day read about her case in textbooks. The government health department was soon informed. They sent researchers to observe. They wanted to see for themselves what was happening. Cameras and notebooks filled the room. Scientists scribbled notes. Reporters asked questions, but still, the answers remained hidden. The pregnancy was not just personal anymore, had become a matter of global interest. There were debates in medical circles. Some believed it was a once-in-a-century phenomenon. Others argued that it should not be possible at all. International experts were invited to review the data, and even they shook their heads in disbelief. It was as though the natural laws of pregnancy had been stretched far beyond imagination. Through all of this, the woman carried herself with quiet dignity. She never sought fame, never asked for recognition. All she wanted was a safe delivery and a healthy child. But destiny had chosen her to be more than just a mother. She had become the center of a mystery that could change medicine forever. One evening, after a long day of tests, a young doctor approached her. His voice trembled with emotion as he said, "Do you know you are making history? You are teaching us things we never thought we would learn." She smiled softly and replied, "I am just a mother, doing what mothers do, carrying life." Her words humbled the entire team, reminding them that behind all the science and all the numbers, there was a beating heart and a woman's courage. The disbelief of the doctors did not fade, it only grew with each passing day. Every new result was another surprise, another challenge, another reason to question what they thought they knew. Her pregnancy was not just surpassing records, it was defying belief itself. And as the world began to hear whispers of her case, more eyes turned toward her, waiting, wondering, and asking the same question: what would happen when this extraordinary journey finally reached its end? News of her pregnancy had already spread beyond the walls of the hospital. What began as whispers in the corridors soon turned into headlines in newspapers and reports on television screens. People across the country wanted to know about the woman whose pregnancy had surpassed everything doctors believed possible. Her story was no longer private, it was becoming a worldwide phenomenon. Journalists camped outside her house, curious neighbors peeked through windows, and strangers came forward with blessings. Her family, once living a quiet life, now found themselves in the center of attention. Some were proud, others nervous. But all of them understood that what was happening could not be hidden anymore. The world was watching history unfold through her. Doctors confirmed what no one thought could happen: she had broken records. The numbers on the charts exceeded anything recorded before. They compared her results with global data, and each time the conclusion was the same. Her pregnancy had crossed every known limit. Each new week was a step into unknown territory. Every measurement was a reminder that the impossible was becoming reality. The hospital became more like a research center. Teams of experts worked day and night. Specialists flew in from abroad just to witness her case. They brought advanced machines, ran complex tests, and discussed theories in hushed voices. Some spoke with excitement, calling her a living miracle. Others expressed concern, fearing the risks. But no one could deny the truth: she was rewriting medical history with every heartbeat inside her. The media gave her many names. Some called her the Miracle Mother. Others described her as the woman who broke science. Crowds gathered outside the hospital during her checkups. Some prayed for her health, some demanded answers from the doctors, and some just wanted to catch a glimpse of the woman who was breaking records with every passing day. Despite the noise and chaos, she remained calm. She did not let fame or fear control her. She spent her days quietly, talking to her unborn child, stroking her belly gently, and whispering words of love. She carried herself with grace. Even when the cameras flashed in her face, her humility became an inspiration to everyone who met her. Doctors often said they were learning not only about medicine, but also about courage and faith. One remarkable moment came when international medical boards officially recognized her case. They confirmed that her pregnancy had officially surpassed every record in medical history. This was not just a rumor or an exaggeration, it was a fact. The announcement shook the medical world. Conferences were held, papers were written, and debates sparked among scientists across the globe. Some saw her case as a blessing, proof that human life still held mysteries beyond science. Others argued it was dangerous to glorify something so unpredictable. But no one could stop the tide of curiosity and wonder her story created. Every day, new visitors arrived to professors, researchers, journalists, even spiritual leaders. Some wanted data, others wanted answers, and a few simply wanted to see her and offer prayers. It felt as though her home had turned into both a temple and a laboratory. She accepted it all with patience, never once forgetting that her ultimate goal was safe delivery. The baby inside her grew stronger, kicking with an energy that startled even her. Nurses who placed their hands on her belly gasped. Some laughed nervously, others were moved to tears. It was as if the child itself knew it was destined to be remembered. One nurse whispered, "This is not just a baby. This is history," and her words spread quickly through the hospital staff. But breaking records also brought challenges. Her body was tested in ways no woman's body had been tested before. There were nights of pain, days of exhaustion, and moments of fear, yet she never gave up. Her determination became as legendary as her case. "If my body can carry this," she once said, "then my spirit can endure it." Those words became a source of strength for the doctors too, reminding them why they had chosen their profession. The world followed her journey like a story unfolding chapter by chapter. Social media buzzed with updates. People from different countries sent messages of support. Some even traveled long distances just to stand outside the hospital and wait for news. It was not just a medical case anymore, it was a human story. A story of resilience, faith, and the limitless surprises of life. And as the records continued to fall, as the doctors continued to stare in disbelief, one question grew louder and louder in everyone's mind. What would happen when the pregnancy finally reached its end? Would the child be normal? Would the mother survive? Or would the world witness something so extraordinary that it would never be forgotten? She walked forward bravely, carrying not just a child, but the weight of history on her shoulders. Her name was already etched into medical journals, but her story was far from finished. Because the greatest moment, the moment the world was waiting for, was still to come. The final months of her pregnancy felt like the countdown to history. The world had been watching, doctors had been documenting, and families had been praying, but no one could predict how the story would end. Every day brought a mix of fear and excitement. It was as though time itself held its breath, waiting for the moment when the truth would finally be revealed. The hospital was prepared for the delivery like never before. Entire teams of doctors were on standby. Nurses rehearsed their roles. Specialists stood by with equipment rarely used in normal cases. The air was tense, filled with the weight of the unknown. Even the walls seemed to echo with the heartbeat of history. She arrived at the hospital calm but determined. Her face carried no fear, only strength. She looked at the doctors and whispered, "I trust you. And I trust life." Those simple words steadied the hands of everyone around her. The woman they had studied for months, the woman who had broken every record, was now ready to take the final step. The hours that followed were unlike anything the medical team had seen. Monitors beeped. Doctors gave instructions. Nurses rushed in and out, and the sound of hurried footsteps filled the corridors. It was a battle of science, nature, and faith all at once. Her body endured what seemed impossible. Every second felt stretched, every moment filled with tension, and then the world heard it, the cry of a newborn, a sound so pure, so powerful, that it erased months of fear in a single instant. The child had arrived, and both mother and baby were alive. The room that had been filled with silence and worry erupted into cheers. Doctors hugged one another, nurses cried tears of relief, and the woman, exhausted but smiling, held her baby close. But the miracle was not just survival, it was what the test revealed after the birth. The child was healthy, stronger than anyone had predicted. The statistics confirmed what everyone had already suspected. The pregnancy had officially broken records in ways no one thought possible. It had forced doctors to rewrite their understanding of the human body. Medical boards quickly released statements, calling the case one of the most extraordinary events in modern history. Researchers published papers, new studies were launched. and international conferences discussed her journey. What once was disbelief turned into recognition. Her name became a symbol of resilience, courage, and the mysteries still hidden within life. The media exploded with headlines. Pregnancy that changed medicine forever. Doctors stunned by unbelievable birth. Mother breaks all records around the world. People read about her. Some called it a miracle. Others called it science, but everyone agreed was history. For her, however, it was something much simpler. She did not see herself as a record breaker or a symbol of science. She saw herself as a mother, holding her child and whispering love in her heart. The story was not about fame or recognition. It was about life, about faith, about the bond between a mother and her baby. Yet, whether she accepted it or not, she had changed the world. Medical textbooks were updated, new theories were tested, and young students learned her name as part of their lessons. Doctors who once shook their heads in disbelief now told her story as proof that the human body can achieve the unthinkable. Her journey became an inspiration beyond hospitals and classrooms. Families struggling with hope found strength in her story. Women facing difficult pregnancies felt courage when they remembered her. Even ordinary people, far removed from medicine, were touched by her resilience. They saw in her a reminder that miracles can still happen in the most unexpected ways. Years later, when she looked back, she did not speak about records or recognition. She spoke about love. She spoke about the tiny cry that filled the room on that unforgettable day. She spoke about how her child had changed not just her world, but the world of countless others, and with a gentle smile. She would always say, "I was just a mother. But life chose me to teach something new." The world agreed. Her story was not just a medical event. It was a reminder of the endless possibilities of life. A symbol of hope that crossed borders, cultures, and beliefs. A pregnancy that began in silence had ended in triumph, and in doing so had changed medical history forever.